Materials allows you to apply colors and textures to geometry in SketchUp. The materials tray isn't shown right now, so I'm going to come over to Window and Default Tray and Show Tray. So in the tray is materials. Now if it's not there, I could go to Window, Default Tray and check it here. So by default, everything you model in SketchUp comes in with a white exterior and this grayish blue interior. So if I was to copy this component over to the side here, so I'm going to explode that. So that's no longer components, just a collection of geometry. So if I was to hide that face, you can see the inside is that grayish blue color. So let's say I wanted to make this component red. If I come over here, by default, colors comes up in the materials tray. You have a variety of options here. Another option is colors name, where the colors are actually given a name like black or blue. The current colors have letter number combinations. And then there's a bunch of textures shown here also, which we'll cover later. So I'll stick with colors. And let's say I want to choose this red. So if I click the red, I've got the paint bucket tool now. And if I click on that component, all of the surfaces in that component are now red, inside and out. If I open that for editing and hide that face, you can see the inside of that is also red. If I was to do the same thing here on this collection of loose geometry, note that I've only affected that face, and I've only affected that side of that face. The inside of that face is still the default bluish gray. I'll undo that. If within a component I only wanted to change one face, I would open it for editing. And now I have access to the individual geometry. So I could come back here and just color that face within a component. I'll undo that. Note also that if you color a component like this, and I was to bring out another component similar, it is not colored. So when you are coloring these components, I'll choose a different color this time. When you're coloring them in that way, it only affects that instance of the component. So say, for example, I've made a copy of this part here. If I open it for editing and make one face, now I'm editing the actual component, not just an instance of the component. So you get a little different behavior depending on whether the component is being edited or the instance is being edited. Let's say I want to now make this part the same color as this, and I've forgotten which color I've used over here. I can come over to the materials tray and click this eyedropper tool. If I click that, now whatever I click on is selected here, and I can now color using that same color there. To see what materials are currently being used in your model, you can click the home icon here. Then notice it says in model, and I can see I'm using the red and the pink colors. Lastly, another way to access the paint bucket tool or the materials, let's say I'm in select here, is to click the paint bucket icon over here. So that pretty much covers the basics of materials. We'll cover textures in a future video.